And good evening to you all. Thank you for joining us today on another Project C Saturday show. I hope you enjoyed the music as you joined us. We'll give this a few more minutes and we're going to play the same video in English just for a few more people to join us. We really have we're going to have an exciting show today, Leopold.
Absolument, Harry. Bonjour à notre bien aimable audience. Et nous avons été absents 2 semaines pour les raisons que tu connais. Samedi dernier, il fallait faire honneur au 4 juillet. Et ce que vous avez su bien faire. Et entre-temps, nous avons collecté un certain nombre d'éléments et que nous allons partager aujourd'hui avec notre audience. L'émission d'aujourd'hui sera vraiment passionnante, elle sera captivante parce qu'elle sera assez révélatrice.
Oui.
Donc, bienvenue et à tout à l'heure.
Yeah, I will play this in English. So we...
For decades, Cameroonians have watched us hope slip through our fingers. Decisions about our future made behind closed doors. Our voices drowned out by power and politics again and again. We've been told who we are and what we must accept. Cameroon's destiny has been shaped by others. Cameroonians are waking up and demanding change. What kind of country do we want? What makes us Cameroonian?
Sorry, it looks like... Sorry about that.
For decades, Cameroonians have watched us hope slip through our fingers. Decisions about our future made behind closed doors. Our voices drowned out by power and politics again and again. We have been told who we are and what we must accept. Cameroon's destiny has been shaped by others. Cameroonians are waking up and demanding change. What kind of country do we want? What makes us Cameroonian? The soul of Cameroon is shaped not by what divides us, but by what unites us. Oh, what kind of country do we want? What makes us Cameroonian? Imagine a movement not of politicians, but of people. Imagine every corner of this country, every hamlet, village, town, city, every region, rising together with one purpose, not for an election, not for power, but for one nation, once and for all. Imagine putting country over self, love over hate. Cameroon, not tribe, language, not region. The soul of Cameroon is shaped not by what divides us, but by what unites us. Imagine a movement not of politicians, but of people. This is not a dream, this is Project C. Imagine the street vendors, the motorcycle taxi drivers, the trade unions, traditional rulers, professionals, and the diaspora, working together everywhere for something bigger than any one of us. Oh, for the first time, we, the people, will come together to answer the hardest, most important questions. How do we finally lay to rest the ghost of the past and create a future where every citizen belongs? Over the next 4 months, we will listen, we will debate, we will draft a new constitution. Oh, one that reflects our diversity, our dreams, our determination to build a Cameroon of dignity, peace, and prosperity. This is a movement born of the people, for the people. No more decisions they for us, without us. No more waiting for permission to hope a new Cameroon is possible. Hey, not determined by our colonial past, but by our common future. Join the movement for a new Cameroon. This is Project C. This is a movement born of the people, for the people. A new Cameroon is possible. Join the movement for a new Cameroon. Join the movement for a new Cameroonian.
Once more, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining us today for our regular Project C show. In fact, it marks 1 year today since we ventured out with this endeavor. It's been 1 year since we've been running Saturday after Saturday. I think we've only missed one Saturday since then. And in that period, we have learned a lot, we have listened a lot, we have grown a lot. And today we embark on a journey that we couldn't have imagined or we would be embarking on when we started out. And I think that is the essence of every movement, every wave of growth, is that we learn, we grow, we evolve, we learn from our shortcomings, but we keep building and moving forward. And today, this week, I think we have arrived at a critical juncture in the history of our country, that it's crucial what happens going forward. But like I said, of everything that we've learned, and we continue to learn from the Cameroonian people, we do the best that we can as a movement to stay focused on our mission, which is really working towards a peaceful transition in our country, Cameroon. And we hope that we're going to do this by bringing everyone together, developing a common vision, and developing the fundamentals on which we are going to be governed, that we can peacefully coexist well into the future, 100 years from now. But there is no one organization that can do this. There's no one individual that can do this. It has to be all the people. We have to create opportunities for all of us to work together. Not one person has all the answers, but if all of us could come together and develop a common vision, the only thing that comes out of it is that we become stronger and better as a people. To this week, we're going to be sharing, we have been conducting a survey as part of our Once and For All campaign. We will be sharing provisional interim results of the survey with you on this session today. You would find it extremely revealing, rewarding, gratifying, and I hope that it inspires Cameroonians everywhere to take this, to get involved in this process. Lend your voice to this campaign. This is the moment where we define the kind of future that we want as a people and as a nation. So our strong appeal, and I'm not only appealing to those of you that have joined us on Zoom, but to those of you that are on Facebook, that are on YouTube, that are on X, the various platforms that we broadcast this show to. We hope that you will join in this campaign. You will take the survey whilst we're on this in the next 2 hours, and so that we can see that we're evolving and we're growing together. But stay tuned. There is much more to come about the campaign. But I'll stop here. I welcome my co-host Leopold this way, who has been working a lot on this campaign behind the scenes to produce what we're going to be sharing with you all today. But Leopold, thank you for everything you do for the movement, and please welcome our French speaking.
We are all part of the movement. Merci infiniment. Non, je dis, nous essayons tous de partager la même passion, en fait. Toute l'équipe qui travaille vraiment en arrière-plan, toute l'équipe stratégique. On ne le souligne pas assez. Ça fait 1 an, comme tu l'as dit, Harry, que Project C est en activité. Et je t'avoue que nous n'avons pas vu le temps passer. En tout cas, personnellement, je n'ai pas vu le temps passer parce que chaque semaine, à l'exception de samedi dernier, pour les raisons qui ont été évoquées précédemment, nous avons été présents et toujours en direct. Et merci une fois de plus à toutes nos plateformes partenaires. Je me fais toujours le plaisir de les citer, même comme j'en oublie souvent. Mimi Mefo, Rebecca Enanchan, Bernard Galim, avec l'appui constant de Kingsley, Junior Abena, tout, vraiment, on peut pas les citer tous, mais vraiment, ils sont absolument remarquables. Et nous avons beaucoup appris. Nous écoutons, ce qui suppose que nous écoutons aussi beaucoup. Et nous pensons que ensemble nous allons pouvoir y arriver. Et l'une des choses que nous avons vraiment compris, c'est que l'aptitude, la qualité fondamentale qui nous permet d'avancer, c'est l'humilité. Et je crois que c'est quelque chose que nous ressentons à travers les Camerounais qui se manifestent. Et tu l'as bien dit, Harry, aujourd'hui, nous allons commencer vraiment à donner des éléments d'analyse du sondage qui est en cours depuis à peu près 2 semaines. Nous exhortons vraiment notre aimable audience à remplir ce questionnaire qui est très facile et qui est surtout anonyme, parce que on ne le dit jamais assez, c'est un questionnaire anonyme. C'est une très belle occasion, elle est unique, une très belle occasion pour nous de prendre part à ce petit débat, à cet échange-là qui nous permet de mettre en place les fondamentaux pour une réelle constitution. Comme le dit la chanson que nous avons passée tout à l'heure en français et en anglais, nous devons absolument prendre part à cela. Je me permets quand même de dire quelque chose, Harry, parce que c'est quelque chose qui nous a aussi tous frappés. La communauté anglophone est beaucoup plus enthousiaste dans le remplissage de ce questionnaire par rapport à la communauté francophone. Bon, cela ne nous surprend pas beaucoup, mais c'est assez révélateur d'un certain nombre de choses sur lesquelles nous allons ensemble revenir. Mais nous exhortons vraiment notre public à prendre vraiment par active à ce questionnaire. C'est très facile à remplir. C'est des questionnaires au choix multiples. C'est très, très facile à remplir. En 4-5 minutes, c'est fait. C'est anonyme. Anonyme, anonyme, anonyme. Et voilà. Vraiment, une fois de plus, merci, merci, merci de nous faire confiance. Et à très bientôt pour la suite.
Oh, merci beaucoup, Leopold. At this time, I will invite Eric Chinje. Just we always have the perspective. We always position our weekly conversation in the context of developments that are taking place in our country, but also to really highlight the pertinence of this moment, of the work that we're doing, not trying to, because we're embarking on this come rain, come shine. What does this mean for a country like Cameroon? What does this mean in the context of Africa with everything that is happening now? So Eric, I will invite you to join us.
Ton microphone, Eric.
Hello. Yeah. Oh, struggling to unmute myself. Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay. I'm in my makeshift studio here in this house. You've always seen this in the background for most of the year. I think it's important that we celebrate this first anniversary, because if we do it right, it will serve as to project us into the future, and it will be, you know, I'm hoping that before the end of today's program, we can say thank you to, and Are, Leopold, you guys should, you know, help in this, but say thank you to some people who've really been instrumental in moving this Project C initiative forward. And I'm thinking of everybody from Mundi to Elizabeth to, you know, Alan, Tita, and so on. We'll get to that hopefully by the end of the show today. But I think it's important that we recognize that. I think it's, you know, I just want to recall also that on this anniversary day, I think it's important to recall that we're driven by the need for change. That's what has served as the fuel, you know, that's fueled the engine of Project C. The need to see change in Cameroon, positive change that would introduce to this country, because the country needs it, better governance, justice, equity in the management of our national resources. We focused on all of these things, you know, at one time or the other, you know, justice, equity, management of natural resources. We've looked at, and we know that if we do this right, it will help in giving a new sense of purpose in our national education and our national health, in our nutrition and agriculture, in our efforts to industrialize Cameroon and create jobs and make this, because this country has what it takes to do all of these things. And at a global level, we can be you know, we can compete in Africa in all of these areas. And there's no reason why we're not doing it. So Project C has as a mission to drive change in Cameroon, and it is within the framework of this desire for change that we came to the conclusion, I hope we'll have time to talk about this later on, we came to the conclusion that we have to rethink the social contract between government and citizens. We need to rethink that. And the way you rethink that and make it permanent is through the Constitution. That's why we are focusing. We felt that we should have a people's constitution which will then propose to citizens, so that they at least have something to compare with, to look at what operates now and the limits and what we can do differently. So on this anniversary day, we should be, I think, as we pat ourselves in the back for having survived a whole year, where we only stopped once to help celebrate the anniversary of a country that built from its own constitution 250 years ago, the United States of America. We stopped only once to celebrate that. And my hope is that what we do, this people's constitution that we're working on, that in 100 years, it will be celebrated in the same way. Maybe not across the world, but certainly across Africa. And I can tell you, as part of my activities this week, I was engaging with a number of people in Benin, in Côte d'Ivoire, in Benin, in Côte d'Ivoire, in Niger, and they're all excited about this. They're all excited about what we're doing, what we're trying to do in Cameroon, because they know, they know that until Africa takes hold of its own this foundational document, until countries on the continent rethink how they govern themselves, rethink how they want to transform their societies, rethink the nature of the relationship between those who govern and those who are governed. Everybody, it's amazing how this is exciting people outside Cameroon. But we've got to get it right in Cameroon for this to become the big story in Africa, I think. So kudos for all the work that's been done with regard to the Project C, and your leadership array, of course, has been instrumental. Leopold is nodding. Yes, and Leopold, you too. You've been. The beauty of our country is how and one of the things that has happened here is how we've allowed the two languages, French and English, to coexist as it should. And I think it's something we should be proud of. So anyway, let me go back to the week so that we can get this program going. And I hope, as I said, I hope at the end we will actually put the spotlight on all the work that's been done by everybody, including Chris Chair and Alain Gono and the rest of them. But we'll get back to that. So let me just talk about the past week, which is what you asked me to do, Harry. What dominated the conversations in Cameroon in the past week were at the top of that agenda, the health of the president, Mr. Biya. That's one. I'll get to that in a second, because that touches on the big issue of succession. That touches on the big issue of the elections as having helped in determining, leadership in the country. So Mr. Biya's health and the continued inability of citizens across the country to know what indeed is going on. There's still that, I don't want to call it a blackout because everybody's talking about it, but the inability of the government to look at citizens in the eye and say, this is what is happening to your leader's health, continues to be a major preoccupation for the nation. So, away from that, from the president's health and the whole issue of succession, of course, the coup d'etat, the attempted constitutional, maybe, or institutional, it wasn't constitutional, institutional coup d'etat, which, again, there's still the absence of clarity on that. There's still, the name of Oswald Baboke, deputy director of the civil cabinet. He's been bandied around as the one who is behind the coup d'etat, but we don't see him acting alone. There's a whole slew of people around him. The names that have been mentioned include the First Lady, Chantal Biya, include Mr. Ngongo, the Secretary General in the presidency, and a host of other people. Look, I'm not just throwing out these names. These are well known in Cameroon as somehow related to what is going on, including Mr. Ayolo, who shut down the initiative, the attempt, because my friend Shandongo called him and he said no. I mean, these are all facts that are in this social conversation going on in Cameroon this past week. Where will that, again, we need some clarity, and I'm hoping that as we go into the next week, there'll be some statements made that will allow citizens to feel that the future is guaranteed with regard to leadership. Right now, it's not clear. Part of what became the focus of the week was the theft of gold. You all heard about that. I'm not inventing any of these things. The fact that billions of francs in gold revenue was denied the country. And that because, and how did we know? We know because there's a figure that was published by the government of something around 22 kilograms of gold exported from Cameroon, when internationally, the announcement was that Cameroon brought in tons, not kilograms, tons of gold into the world market through Dubai. Again, what is going on? Because if that is true, and this relates to the next thing I'm going to talk about, the diaspora bonds and raising foreign capital, looking for money abroad, it's related to that. Because if the gold revenue were reported in Cameroon, there's enough money to take care of the salaries that Mr. Mutazi, the Minister of Finance, is struggling to continue paying. There's enough to to pay for schools and hospitals and infrastructure, the roads and so on that need to be built. But we don't have, just the gold alone. We're not talking about everything else. We're not talking about all the other resources that Cameroon generated last year. We're just talking about the gold alone. It's in the billions, hundreds of billions of CFA francs. So that discussion also was taking place last week in the country, and there's still need for clarity. There's need for the government to step up and say, this is what is happening. Was gold stolen? Clearly, because the international community will not be announcing it if it wasn't. And there's a discrepancy between how much gold is being announced internationally and how much Cameroon is showing in its budget as money generated by that resource. Where are our members of parliament? I want a shout out here to Mr. Jean-Michel Nietzsche for facing up to it. He was in parliament and he addressed it forcefully. He asked the questions to the Minister of Finance, and please, Mr. Mutazi, respect citizens and tell them what is going on here. We know that Cameroon sent hundreds of millions of francs in gold resources left the country. And if that's the case with gold, what is happening to timber? What is happening to the iron ore? What's happening to the diamonds? Who controls them and who's shipping them out? These are questions that a serious government must, and we hope that the folks in Yaoundé consider they're serious. They've got to address. And that's what was happening last week as part of the discussion. And to think that as this was going on, all of these things were being talked about, again, Louis-Paul Mutazik stands out and says, I'm going to seek to generate, I'm going to put out some diaspora bonds so that we can raise money, hundreds of millions again, calling on the same diaspora folks that they will not give citizenship to, or they'll seize, take away their, dual citizenship from. And yet they want these citizens to buy up those bonds, just as was the case in Burkina Faso, where the government put out these bonds and raised far more than it expected. So this was part of the conversation last week with, the diaspora bonds. And, hopefully Cameroon will end up raising money through these, the bonds, and maybe figure out how to generate the kinds of revenue that the country needs for its own development. So this were all these. We had a rich week in Cameroon where all of these issues were discussed, and I want to throw one last thing before we move on, is the possibility of Issa Chiroma's return to Cameroon. That is happening. And what we hope that Issa Chiroma, he's initiated the process. Maybe with some luck, he might actually end up coming to Cameroon in the coming weeks or months. But I think the pressure is building, and hopefully we'll see Issa Chiroma in Cameroon before long, whether through, he's reached out to everybody, the army, citizens, civil society, and so on. Maybe either through that or through some form of mediation, which may or may not happen. And I'm not going to spill any beans here because I don't have the beans to spill. But something probably is going to happen in the coming weeks, months. Part of the discussion was Chiroma's announced intention to return to Cameroon. So let me stop there and say one final thing, which I promised myself I will say. I know I've taken a lot of time. It is what happened in Kondengi yesterday. There's a young man there called Ngalim Felix, who has been instrumental in transforming Kondengi into a production center. And Felix Ngalim has succeeded in training well over 100 young people who are in Kondengi, have no resources to sustain them in prison. But Felix has figured out how to get these young people to produce and sell. And I think we'll come back to that, maybe not now, in some future program, where we'll, if you look at the newspapers that came out yesterday or today in Cameroon, some of them are carrying the story. Felix Ngalim has been awarded some prize, for what he's been doing in prison. And he's in prison. Why is he in prison? He's in prison because he led a revolution, what was called the Coffin Revolution in 2016. So before the Anglophone quote unquote crisis, Felix and Mancho Bibixi and others led that. And they were arrested for demonstrating and thrown in jail, and they've been in jail since 2016, over 10 years now. But he's not been wasting his time. He's training people to produce. And what they produce, they're selling. And what they're selling is helping to take care of the health of prisoners and the feeding, the nutrition of prisoners in Kondengi. That's a long week for me. Harry. I'm done.
Well, thank you, Eric. I will leave the difficult task of summarizing all what you said in French to Leopold.
Yeah. On va essayer, Harry, comme toujours. Harry, Eric a essayé en 6 points, Eric a relaté un peu, résumé les événements de la semaine. Le premier point au Cameroun, effectivement, ce qui préoccupe les gens, c'est la santé du président. Ce qui pose effectivement un problème de leadership localement. Les gens se demandent qu'est-ce qui se passe en fait. Pourquoi est-ce qu'il y a ce sentiment de vide qui ne fait que s'agrandir, et puis ça donne l'impression, ça donne la latitude aux gens de faire un peu n'importe quoi. Donc, c'est forcément lié au deuxième point qu'il a mentionné, à savoir le coup d'État institutionnel raté d'il y a quelques semaines. On est toujours dans l'attente d'un peu plus de clarification, d'un peu plus, on voudrait savoir ce qui s'est passé. Et puis, des sanctions qui tardent à tomber, ce qui ramène au premier point, à savoir le sentiment de vide qui se passe. Et puis, le troisième point, c'était le scandale de l'or. Effectivement, c'est à la une de tout. On peut voir c'est-à-dire que l'accent qui est mis pour pouvoir mettre le directeur de cabinet civil adjoint, Oswald Baboké, vraiment sur la sellette, lui, son épouse et autres. Il faut dire que les gens ne se donnent pas beaucoup d'efforts parce que eux-mêmes, ils donnent suffisamment d'éléments pour pouvoir parler de tout cela. Mais à la réalité, il ne saurait être seul dans un tel scandale. Donc, il y a le secrétaire général de la présidence qui forcément doit savoir plus sur ce qui se passe. Il y a la première dame, il y a même le directeur de cabinet civil lui-même, puisque Babou n'est que son adjoint, si je peux l'exprimer ainsi. Donc, il y a un besoin de clarification, et en l'absence de cela, forcément, les médias vont dans tous les sens avec des éléments plus ou moins vérifiables, mais une fois de plus, il faut dire que les gens ne se donnent pas beaucoup de peine pour pouvoir collecter ces éléments parce que l'arrogance de ces principaux acteurs-là ça gêne. Donc, de toutes les façons, ça ne peut pas être que le directeur de cabinet civil adjoint tout seul et son épouse. Et de ce point de vue-là, le député Jean-Michel Nietzsche, ça fait vraiment la une. Il a clairement interpellé le ministre des Finances au Parlement. La réponse du gouvernement est toujours attendue parce que c'est toujours des occasions pour qu'il y ait un certain nombre de précisions, une prise de parole de la part du gouvernement. Nous avons eu le porte-parole du gouvernement qui s'est exprimé il y a quelques semaines au sujet de la sortie de la presse Jeune Afrique. Ben, il serait de bon ton que le porte-parole continue d'entretenir le public sur ce qui se passe. Puis, en quatrième point, Eric a mentionné le diaspora bond. Et il se trouve que le ministre des Finances, nous l'avons toujours vu dans les médias, il a besoin de 2000 milliards de francs CFA. Il compte sur la diaspora. Évidemment, il a toujours par voie de réseaux sociaux interposés. Il a reçu un certain nombre d'éléments pour dire que si cette diaspora qui a du mal même à se faire reconnaître, le problème de double nationalité et autres, si cela n'a pas lieu, c'est pas de gaieté de cœur que cette diaspora pourra contribuer. Donc, ce qui pose effectivement un problème de confiance que nous allons pouvoir voir dans les éléments dont nous allons parler tout à l'heure au sujet de les sondages, les enquêtes, parce que ça pose clairement un problème de confiance. Donc, cette diaspora bond, un peu qui fait penser à celle du Burkina Faso au mois de juin, en 30 jours, le Burkina Faso avait besoin de 125 milliards de francs CFA. En 30 jours, elle a recueilli 151 milliards. Donc, confiance. La confiance. Il y a donc des préalables au Cameroun avant de pouvoir aboutir à ce genre d'opération. Et Eric a aussi parlé de la possibilité, du possible retour du président élu Issa Chiroma Bakary au Cameroun. Bon, on n'a pas suffisamment d'éléments à ce sujet-là parce qu'il y a plusieurs possibilités. Est-ce que ce sera par le canal d'une médiation? Est-ce que ce sera suite à son appel aux forces locales de défense et de sécurité? On attend d'en savoir un peu plus. Et puis, au plan personnel, Eric a tenu absolument à parler de la prouesse, entre guillemets, du jeune détenu Félix Galim, qui est en prison depuis 2016, bien avant le déclenchement de l'actuelle crise dite anglophone, et qui est un artisan. Il a entrepris de former déjà une bonne centaine d'autres détenus pour pouvoir produire des objets, des pièces artisanales et qu'ils vendent, ce qui leur permet d'avoir un peu de quoi se nourrir, se soigner et autres. Et donc, ça, c'est vraiment remarquable comme activité et comme engagement de la part de ce jeune Félix Galim. C'est tout à fait remarquable. Donc, voilà un peu.
Merci beaucoup, Léopold. Vraiment, c'est formidable ce que tu as dit. Et je tiens quand même à aussi préciser que tout ce que tu as dit ne vient pas de toi. Ça vient de moi qui suis à l'extérieur. Et je n'invente pas. C'est ce que nous percevons étant ici, à l'extérieur. Donc, tout ce que j'ai dit, ce n'est pas pour dénigrer qui que ce soit, c'est pas pour... C'est exactement ce que nous avons reçu étant ici, à l'extérieur. Mais merci beaucoup pour cette interprétation formidable. Thanks, Eric.
Yep. Thank you, Eric, for giving us that weekly perspective in the context of the evolution of our country. And you said that it was a very rich week and rich in terms of challenges that our country is facing. I wish it was celebratory. I wish it was going down a checklist of accomplishments that we had made as a people. But unfortunately, that's not the case, which is the reason why we really absolutely have to rethink our country. And it is that process, and I want to overemphasize this, that we didn't wake up one morning and say that we wanted a new constitution for Cameroon. We went through a process of educating ourselves, educating our public, listening to our public, and arriving at the conclusion that the challenges that we face as a country, whether it is with the misuse of our resources, whether it is in the way that our electoral process is managed and elections being stolen, whether it, in the context of a country unable to provide basic necessities for its people, that it was all not for lack of resources, both natural and human, but it was because there was no fundamental principles on which, or values on which our country was run. That everything that has been happening to our country has essentially been based on a lie. And we have failed to recognize that there's really never been an opportunity, or there have been opportunities, but there has not been a genuine effort to resolve the challenges, the crisis that we face. What country on earth will go 10 years thousands of people murdered, villages burned, people displaced, and not make that its number one priority in everything that it does? What country? Unless that country doesn't exist. So the idea of beginning this process to develop a constitution, to define the nation, first of all, and a constitution for the country is one that we arrived at after weeks and weeks of listening to experts and looking at the various perspectives, that this was the only way in which we could move our country forward. But to do this, we wanted it to be a deliberate process, that it was not just Ari or Eric or Leopold determining. All we are facilitators of a process that we hope the Cameroonian people will take ownership of. So we put in place this campaign we're calling Once and For All, and the notion of once and for all just means let's do this for posterity. Let's do this so we do not come back to this. Let's invest our time and resources in building. But for us to build, we need to establish a solid foundation. So if the imagery is correct, you don't build a house by beginning with the roof. You begin with a solid foundation. We believe that we're building a foundation not for a house, but for the skyscraper that we deserve as the Cameroonian people, knowing the resources that we have. And so this is a process that will have several steps, beginning with this survey that we are doing across the country. A few things we would highlight, and I'm going to present some graphics of the survey quickly, just so that you see the questions that are in the survey, that we encourage people to take the survey whilst we are we're on this show. I would love to see the numbers go up. We'll present the graphics in English and then in French. And then after that, we're going to present you with an analysis of the survey. We produced a video analysis of the survey, again, surveys in English and in French. You will find out that the survey is representative. That means we have ensured that people are coming from all sectors. When I present to you the one in English, you would see the representation, and that in French, you would also see the representation. And that is extremely important because we want all 360 subdivisions to be represented in this survey. We want the diaspora to be represented in this survey, so that at the end of it, it really becomes a document. The data becomes the basis on which we project the future. And we'll talk about the next steps after the survey, but we'll be running the survey right till the end of the month of July, and then we'll talk about the next steps going forward. I'm going to stop here so that Leopold, you can do this introduction, and then I'll begin with the presentation of the survey. Whilst you are doing the summary, I'm going to put the links out there so that people can also be taking the survey.
Tout à fait, oui. Merci beaucoup. Ce sondage est vraiment très important. Il est unique. De mémoire, nous n'avons jamais eu à consulter les Camerounais sur un sujet aussi important. Nous avons tous été des témoins des crises depuis 90 au Cameroun, les différentes crises, les différentes tractations politiques et autres, mais les Camerounais, là où ils se trouvent, n'ont jamais été consultés comme nous sommes en train de le faire. Et de ce point de vue-là, nous invitons vraiment, nous devons inviter les Camerounais à prendre part, à répondre à ce questionnaire, à ce sondage dont on arrive à présenter les liens. Et c'est très facile à remplir. C'est vraiment très facile à remplir. Et je ne peux qu'exhorter davantage nos concitoyens d'expression française à prendre part à ce sondage parce que l'écart se creuse entre nos concitoyens anglophones et nous. S'il vous plaît, vous remplissez le questionnaire, c'est très, très révélateur. Les premiers résultats que nous avons sont absolument édifiants, mais à la réalité ne nous surprennent pas beaucoup parce que ce sondage, c'est une espèce de miroir qui se présente à nous. Je ne trahis rien en disant que l'une des premières observations que nous avons faites, c'est que les Camerounais sont beaucoup plus unis que la politique ne le laisse croire. Hein. Quand on fait les rapprochements, c'est assez révélateur. Donc, vraiment, de grâce, remplissez ce questionnaire. C'est une parfaite opportunité de vraiment prendre part à ce changement que nous souhaitons pour notre pays. Cette constitution dont nous rêvons, c'est pour la postérité. Donc, comme tu l'as bien dit, c'est une très belle image, Harry. La construction d'une maison ne commence pas par la toiture, c'est plutôt par la fondation. Et la fondation que nous voulons mettre en place, nous voulons contribuer à mettre en place, c'est une fondation pour un gratte-ciel. Pas pour les petits meublés R+2, R+3 que nous voyons fleurir au Cameroun. Une fondation pour un gratte-ciel. Donc, nous ne serons plus là pour voir l'évolution des choses. Et la semaine dernière, vous fêtiez le 250e anniversaire de la Constitution de la naissance des États-Unis d'Amérique. Mais Johnston n'était plus là pour voir la suite.
Oui. Yeah. So I've shared the QR codes in French and in English. We'll continue to share that. I put the links in the chat. So please, I invite you to take the survey. It's going to take just a few minutes. It's really, really quick. But I'll use this opportunity to just present so that you know the questions even that are in the survey so everybody can see, and I'll use some graphics. Again, after that, we'll do an analysis of those. So I would start with the English one, and I would really try to go through as fast as I can. But it gives you a sense of what we're working on. Let me see. I'll need somebody to let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, great. So I'm going to begin with the Survey Once and For All campaign, and the results we're showing you is right up till the 10th of July. So up-to-date results. And quickly, it begins with just demographic data that we're collecting, and this is where I mentioned representation. So this is the English-speaking survey, and obviously you can see 36% of those who are taking the survey are from the Northwest, 24% from the Southwest, and 24% from the diaspora. You could also see that you have people in the English-speaking origin that are in different parts of the country that are taking, and largely you can see the center breaking out there as significant. From an age group perspective, you can see pretty balanced here, with the most significant group actually being over the age of 55. We would love to see many young people participate in this survey, and we would like to see this age group trending younger. Also, between the last time we presented this, there has been an improvement. It was 80% male, but we've seen more women beginning to take the survey. But we would want to see this more balanced, have more women participate in the survey. So if you're a woman, you're listening to this, please take the survey, and we'll share the links on other platforms, the QR code as well on other platforms, so people can can take this. It is completely anonymous, so we do not collect any data of the individual that takes the survey besides this demographic data. Again, look at the demographics in terms of professional status. You can see the private sector, which includes entrepreneurs, is significant. We're also seeing retired participation, which corresponds to the age group here that has been taken the survey the most, but also public servants, and that's really important that they are taking the survey and contributing their perspective. The survey is in various parts, 6 different parts. First one was demographics. The second one, it's about identity and nationhood. And to the question, do you feel proud to be Cameroonian? We see that for those who took the survey in English, 47%, almost 50%, they say they're proud, and another 36% say they are not proud. A growing percentage of people say they are not sure, but that's a very interesting perspective, which we'll come back to. Do you believe all ethnic groups are treated equally in Cameroon? It's a resounding no. 91% of those taking the survey say no. To the question, is it important for the Constitution to protect all languages and cultures? 98% say yes. And that's a very, very critical question in the context of a country with multiple languages and multiple ethnicities. So we'll get back to that. And then the next section is on governance and democracy. Do you trust in public institutions? 81% say no. Essentially, and there is a 10% that says sometimes, and just 1.2% say the trust in government and institutions. Do you think elections in Cameroon are free and fair? Only 1.2% say yes. 9 out of 10, or even 9, and if you can split a body, you'd say 9.8 out of 10 believe that 9 out of 10 people think that elections are not free and fair. So that's something that we know, but we didn't just know how deep that runs. In terms of term limits should presidential term limits be included in the Constitution? A resounding yes, 98%. And then this is a very interesting perspective in terms of shared power. Who should have the most power in government? And you can see how it is broken down. Only 6% of those who took the survey think that the president should have the most power. Most of the responses want power to be shared, want power to be distributed, to be local, the parliament, but presidential power, just about 6%. Now, the next section is on corruption and accountability. Everyone in Cameroon seems to have been affected by corruption, because 95% say they have been personally or their community has been affected. And to the question, should there be stronger punishment for corruption? A resounding 98% says yes, there should be. So Cameroonians want to see an end to this corrupt nature that we have acquired. When we to the question of who should oversee public officials, this continues to evolve. The last time it was not a resounding independent courts, but as you can see, 49, nearly 50% of the people think there should be independent courts that should oversee public officials. There is also citizens' courts, and those are things that we need to think about as we're evolving. And then parliament should hold people accountable, and a very small percentage think the media should be responsible for that. Now we talk about the Anglophone crisis and national cohesion. And we can see that 84% of the people who took the survey are calling for a dialogue, that this crisis can be resolved through a dialogue. To the question, should all regions have equal say in national matters, we see 92% of those taking the survey say yes. And a resounding, should the Constitution guarantee equal rights for Anglophones and Francophones, we see 97% of those who took the 9 out of 10 people who took the survey say yes. Whatever constitution we have for this country must guarantee equal rights for Anglophones and Francophones. To the question, this now the section on youth, women, and the future. Youth are essentially the future. The average age of Cameroon, and now it's 19. Women are also 50% of the population, but sometimes left out. And let us think about the future. Young people, do young people have enough opportunities in Cameroon? 9 out of 10 people say no. Are women given equal chances to lead in politics and society? 65% say no. And only 17% say yes. With reference to the question, should citizens have more say in how the country is governed? 94%. I mean, we're living in a time in a world where transparency and accountability is going to be how any regime survives. 94% demand more participation in how the country is governed. Now, to constitutional renewal and the future, there's a really interesting perspective. And when we look at the French one, we're also going to be reflecting on what we see here. Note that 84% of those who took the English-speaking survey are saying they want to participate in the drafting of a new constitution. That's very interesting perspective, and how we bring that to reality is one of the interesting conversations that we're going to be having. Then we're also looking at this question of what is most important for Cameroon's future. Now look at justice. Justice is primordial for most people before development, before equality. And we spoke earlier about people who are in detention for absolutely no reason but an expression of their political views. And that's why justice is something. You cannot have peace without justice. So justice is crucial before anything. There's unity, justice, peace, development, and equality. And those who took it choose justice as their number one priority. Then there was the final section is just general questions. And these general questions are, what is the biggest challenge facing Cameroon today? Look at that. Poor leadership. Poor leadership. Not poverty, not conflict, not corruption. Poor leadership. Before even corruption, which comes in second place, which is, so 1 in 3 people who took the survey believe that poor leadership is a problem that we have in Cameroon. And then another 1 in 3 believe that corruption is also a challenge. And then let's look at what gives you hope for the future of Cameroon. Obviously, this is relevant to the question, new leadership. That's what our country needs. But also, I see this as telling our diversity and our youth, a combination of these 3 gives us hope for a better future for our country. Then to the question, should traditional leaders and civil society play a bigger role? We see 75% of the people standing up and saying that, yes, that's what they would love to see. And what reform would most improve Cameroon? That's the last question. Look at that. 45%, nearly 50% say better elections. And then there is less corruption. And then other initiatives. But look at that. If we had better elections, that would improve our country. So that's the survey in English, for those who took the survey in English. And I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'll quickly switch to the survey in French. Just here. 1 minute. Okay, so that was it in English, et maintenant je vais essayer de présenter les questionnaires en français avec l'appui sur le contrôle de Léopold, bien sûr. Alors, comme j'avais présenté en anglais, ceux qui ont pris, Léopold a déjà bien dit, on n'est pas satisfait avec le nombre de personnes qui ont pris l'enquête en français, mais au fur et à mesure, nous pensons qu'on aura beaucoup plus encore de la participation massive aussi en français. L'enquête est divisée en différentes parties, je pense 6 différentes parties, et la première partie, c'est celle de la démographie. En termes de la démographie, vous allez bien constater que c'est bien répartitionné, c'est-à-dire il y a une représentation de toutes les différentes régions de notre pays, et aussi la diaspora. Vous allez dû constater que 23% de ceux qui ont pris l'enquête, qui ont participé, sont de la diaspora, 23%. Donc le reste, presque 80% sont basés au Cameroun. Et littoral et le centre représentent la majorité de ceux qui ont participé dans l'enquête, qui est représentatif de la population même de notre pays. En termes de l'âge de participation, la jeunesse, en français, ceux qui ont pris l'enquête en français représentent 37%, et en français, moins de retraités ont pris le jeunesse. Donc, on a une participation de la jeunesse très active pour ceux qui ont pris l'enquête en français. Aussi, on constate qu'il y a une augmentation de participation de femmes dans ce sondage, qui n'était pas le cas la dernière fois qu'on a regardé cela. En termes de statut professionnel, ce qui est intéressant, c'est cette population estudiantine qui a participé dans ce sondage, qui n'était pas le cas quand on a regardé les résultats en anglais. Mais toujours est-il que la majorité de ceux qui ont participé sont du secteur privé, et on ne voit pas beaucoup la participation de ceux qui travaillent pour l'État, qui sont fonctionnaires. Comme on a vu, 10% de ceux qui ont pris le sondage en anglais, c'était des fonctionnaires. Pour deuxième partie qui est l'identité, Leopold, please feel free to come in anytime as I'm going along. Et la deuxième partie, c'est l'identité et l'appartenance nationale. Êtes-vous fier d'être Camerounais? plus de 75% presque de ceux qui ont pris le sondage dit oui. Il faut noter qu'en anglais, c'était à peu près 47 qui ont dit oui. Donc, il y a une marge de différence entre ceux qui ont pris, qui disent les anglophones. Il n'y a que 47% qui disent qu'ils sont fiers d'être camerounais. Et de l'autre côté, il y a 75% qui disent oui, fiers d'être camerounais pour les francophones. À la question, pensez-vous que tous les groupes ethniques sont traités sur un pied d'égalité au Cameroun? Largement, plus de 70% disent non. C'est quelque chose qu'on doit étudier. Et est-il important que la Constitution protège toutes les langues et cultures au Cameroun? 80% de personnes disent oui. Donc, 8 sur 10, 10 personnes qui ont pris l'enquête disent oui. Troisième partie, c'est sur la gouvernance et la démocratie. Faites-vous confiance aux institutions publiques, c'est-à-dire le gouvernement, le parlement, les tribunaux? 80% disent non. Il n'y a que 6% qui dit oui. Ça, c'est très intéressant pour un pays qui est gouverné où 80% des personnes
ne font pas confiance.
Ne font pas confiance aux institutions.
Parce qu'en fait, c'est ça. Et ce serait bien de voir ce que la population anglophone a répondu à cette question-là.
Oui, oui.
Tu as vu que c'était dans les mêmes proportions à peu près.
Oui.
Ce qui veut dire qu'en fait, notre pays traverse avant tout une crise des institutions, mais pas une crise des peuples, parce que c'est important qu'on relève cela.
Oui, absolument. Quand on a regardé ça en anglais, il n'y avait que 1,2% qui ont dit oui, qu'ils ont confiance aux institutions. Ça, c'est remarquable pour un pays qui tient la route. Jusque-là. Croyez-vous que les élections au Cameroun sont libres et équitables? Ça, c'est... on a constaté que ce soit en anglais ou en français que les gens pensent non. La question sur la limitation des mandats doit être inscrit dans la Constitution. Absolument oui, que ce soit en anglais ou en français. Et qui devrait détenir le plus des pouvoirs au sein du gouvernement? Ça, c'est aussi intéressant parce que en anglais, on a constaté que c'était juste 5%, mais on constate que ce soit en anglais ou en français, la population veut voir beaucoup plus la participation à tous les différents niveaux. Concernant cette rubrique de la corruption et la responsabilité, on constate aussi que la corruption a touché presque tout le monde au Cameroun. Tout le monde est personnellement affecté ou touché par la corruption et la communauté. Et en termes de sanctions, tout le monde, la majorité des personnes, 9 sur 10 personnes veulent avoir beaucoup plus de sanctions en matière de la corruption. Et qui devrait contrôler les agents publics? C'est toujours en anglais et en français, on voit que les tribunaux indépendants et aussi des contrôles, des comités de citoyens.
C'est ça, c'est intéressant Harry, de comparer un peu ce résultat en anglais et en français, juste pour voir un peu.
Oui,
tu sais, vraiment le checks and balances, tu sais, c'est pas la même notion.
Oui, c'est pas la même notion parce que en anglais, c'est presque plus de 50% voulaient que ce soit les tribunaux indépendants. Donc, ça veut dire quelque chose. Il y a beaucoup qu'on est en train d'apprendre avec ces résultats. En ce qui concerne la crise anglophone, ça c'est intéressant parce que à la question, toutes les régions doivent avoir voix au chapitre dans les affaires nationales. 100%, c'est 100%, complètement.
Ce qui veut dire arrêter beaucoup de choses, hein? Beaucoup de choses.
Oui,
en termes de la forme de l'État, en termes de la décentralisation.
C'est sûr. Absolument. 5%. Et presque tout le monde est d'accord sur le fait que cette crise anglophone doit être résolue par le dialogue. Et à la question, la Constitution devra garantir l'égalité des droits entre anglophones et francophones. Oui, 96% des personnes qui ont participé à l'enquête disent oui. Question, prochaine rubrique, c'est jeunesse, femmes et l'avenir. Et là aussi, comme en anglais, parce que c'était 92, ici c'est 90, disent qu'il n'y a pas assez d'opportunités pour la jeunesse camerounaise. C'est ça l'avenir de notre pays, c'est la jeunesse.
Et c'est pour eux d'ailleurs que nous travaillons.
Oui, absolument. Et aussi, les femmes, c'est 60% de ceux qui ont pris l'enquête disent que les femmes n'ont pas assez de chances au Cameroun en termes de responsabilité en politique et dans la société. À la question, les citoyens doivent-ils avoir davantage les mots à dire sur la gouvernance du pays? 95%. Intéressant aussi. À la question, cette rubrique, le renouveau constitutionnel et l'avenir, ça c'est intéressant, Léopold, parce que la justice continue, que ce soit en anglais et en français, c'est la justice.
Là où il y a la justice, la paix suit. Hein.
Mais la paix suit.
Justice, there is peace.
Oui. Et là, je pense que tu vas et le développement, l'unité, avant même la paix.
Avant même la paix, l'unité.
Oui, l'unité. C'est intéressant. Les citoyens devraient-ils participer directement à la rédaction d'une nouvelle constitution?
Voilà, 75%.
75%. En anglais, c'était 82%.
Ce qui explique peut-être le retard qu'il y a dans le remplissage du questionnaire.
Le questionnaire. Oui. Et, dernière rubrique, c'est des questions générales qui veut dire quel est le plus grand défi auquel le Cameroun est confronté aujourd'hui. La majorité en anglais et en français pense que c'est mauvaise gouvernance. Avant même la corruption et la pauvreté.
À dire vrai, la corruption, c'est une conséquence d'une mauvaise gouvernance.
C'est vrai. Et c'est ça qui nous apporte la pauvreté aussi.
Absolument. Absolument.
Yeah.
La pauvreté pour certains.
Pour certains. Oui,
parce que les gens qui traitent l'or n'ont pas le problème de pauvreté.
Et sur la question, qu'est-ce qui vous donne espoir pour l'avenir du Cameroun? On constate que 50% pensent qu'un nouveau leadership et aussi notre diversité. Toujours en deuxième position, notre diversité, ça fait notre force. Oui. Et ça nous donne espoir pour notre avenir. Oui.
C'est une richesse.
Oui. Une richesse. Et notre jeunesse aussi. La participation des chefs traditionnels et la société civile, 80% pensent qu'il faut une société dans laquelle la société civile participe.
S'il te plaît, juste une petite observation sur l'espoir. Observe que les ressources naturelles ne représentent même pas 10% pour l'instant. Les ressources naturelles au niveau de l'espoir.
Oui, oui, absolument.
Et c'est remarquable.
C'est vraiment remarquable. Quelle réforme unique permettra d'améliorer le plus le Cameroun?
Voilà.
Des meilleures élections, de même. Et moins de corruption et plus d'emplois. Mais c'est intéressant que les élections, et des meilleures élections, presque 50% optent pour ça.
Alors, juste une observation. Imagine un peu cette perspective-là dans un cadre où nous avons une réelle décentralisation. Là, les meilleures élections reprennent plus leur sens.
Justement.
Au niveau du pouvoir local.
Local et régional.
Régional, exactement.
Oui. So that brings us to the end of the presentation of the surveys. And in the interest, if you are here and you are watching us on Facebook or YouTube or anywhere that you're watching this, and I'm going to ask my brother Kingsley if if you can share the QR code and the links on those platforms so people can join us to take this survey. As you can see, they're very simple questions. It would take you no more than 5 to 10 minutes to just respond to those questions. It is completely anonymous, meaning we do not collect your data. Nobody knows who is taking the survey. It's a conscious choice that we made so that nobody should feel that they are putting themselves in harm's way when taking this survey. So if you are here with us, I'm going to pause for a moment and I'm going to repost the links in the chat so that we can all take this survey in English. That I just posted that in French, and now I'm posting that in English. Please, if you can take the survey, that will be helpful. Whilst you are taking the survey, I'm going to play one of our videos, just so because we really, and I'll be monitoring to make sure that people are taking the survey. But this video is just a break before we go on to the analysis of the results, which is really the big scoop for today is going to be in the analysis of the results. And I'm glad you all joined us. But in the meantime, we really want to pause here for people to take the survey. But before I pause, I'm not sure if Chris, I'm going to bring on Chris to make a strong appeal.
Yes, as usual.
As usual. because I know that Chris would have to leave us at some point. I want to make sure that we do that now, whilst people are taking this survey. Chris, if you can.
Qu'on comprenne vraiment que cette future constitution-là, elle doit reconstruire la confiance vraiment entre les citoyens et l'État. C'est ce que ces résultats nous laissent déjà apparaître.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Leopold. Good morning, Ray. And thank you all for the wonderful job that you're doing. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oui,
okay, good. All right. I was just thanking both of you for the great job that you're doing for Cameroonians, for Projects Cameroon, and thanking Eric and all the others behind the scenes. And I'd like to take this opportunity to greet all participants that are around the world for taking the time to join every Saturday morning or this morning. It means that we all have the commitment to bringing everlasting change to Cameroon, positive change to Cameroon. So thank you all for joining. Look, the presentation speaks for itself, really. I mean, look at those analyses, right? If anyone was doubting the mission of Project C, I think the project that we've carried on, to produce this survey and the results that are coming out is really indicating what we stand for. And my hope is that the results that are showing will encourage Cameroonians to participate, to join Project C, so that we don't just talk, but rather we are taking concrete steps towards bringing positive change to Cameroon. The results are working. The survey is helping us to bring Cameroonians together. Not just talking, but now we have some data behind what we're saying. And when we go to write the constitution, it will represent what Cameroonians want, including the government, including everyone. So we're just appealing for Cameroonians to really understand the mission of Project C. We are just a group of civil society Cameroonians that want to contribute towards positive change in Cameroon, towards the right leadership to lead Cameroon into the future. That's what this is about. And the results are amazing. As I listen to those results, it's just, my mind is just floating all over the place to really see the day we will come to achieve this dream that Cameroonians are dreaming. It is possible. And it's only possible through us, through all Cameroonians united. You see, the beauty of Project C, as you can see, it's all Cameroonians, French and English working together, hand in hand. Cameroonians from all parts of Cameroon working hand in hand in Project C. And I believe that with your support, we will achieve it. I am hoping that the survey will continue to grow and that Cameroonians will continue to align with Project C and understand the mission. We're still having challenges getting people to believe and do it, but the people believing in Project C are growing every day. And we invite more. Please do your part to send out the surveys, to support Project C financially. We need it. We need funds to carry out these projects. This is just the beginning. There's a whole lot more that we have to do. And I hope that you find these survey results that are coming out showing Project C's commitment towards bringing us together to push for change in Cameroon. So thank you all, and we hope to see that by next week, the number of participants across Francophone, Anglophone, all parts of Cameroon will continue to grow. Lastly, we continue to get questions, which is good, of what Project C really is. If Project C is part of Chiroma's team. And we continue to say that we are not against Chiroma, but Project C is an independent civil society. We do support Chiroma because we believe that he is the elected president of Cameroon. He was elected by the sovereign people of Cameroon, and so we will support anyone who is in that position. But we're not a political party. We are apolitical, but we support whatever Cameroonians choose. So for those that continue to have those questions, we hope that you will give us a call to clarify it, so that we need your support. We need your support. There's absolutely no confusion about it. So again, thank you, and thank you, Are and Leopold, for a great presentation.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, for joining us and making that strong appeal. I have again ways to donate if this touches you, if this work that we're doing touches you, if you think that we are going down the right path, encourage us, because we, more than just what we're doing online, we're building an infrastructure on the ground in Cameroon that will ensure that this survey is representative of people in Cameroon in all 360 subdivisions. And you can see from the sample that we presented how representative it is. You could see the center, you could see the littoral reflecting the population of Cameroon, and you could, it broken down to the various regions of Cameroon. It is actually a fair sample representation of our country. I just want to say, Leopold, you must have done something right, because I think in the last hour we've had over 20 French speakers take the survey. So I think your appeal was well, but you know, we need more. We need more people to continue. We're monitoring as in real time. Here's the thing: you cannot take the survey twice. If you try, it will stop you. Right? I want
je l'ai essayé 3 ou 4 fois. Donc,
yeah, I want to because I know Dr. Yusuf mentioned that you can only take the survey once. We encourage people to take it just once. The system is set up to take it once.
Et puis, juste un commentaire à la réalité, quand on voit déjà ces premiers résultats-là, est-ce que cela nous surprend? À la réalité, parce que de façon vraiment empirique, on le sentait déjà. Mais ce qui est impressionnant, c'est que les Camerounais, en s'exprimant ainsi, à travers ces statistiques, nous confortent dans les analyses, les premières impressions que nous avions déjà. Donc vraiment, on ne veut pas savoir bien, pas bien, non, non. Nous analysons froidement les résultats et c'est ça qui est remarquable, quoi.
Et ce qui est important aussi, Léopold, que nous avons tendance à être en communication avec des personnes qui partagent les mêmes idées que nous.
Oui, oui, oui.
Avec ce sondage, on a l'opportunité d'écouter les Camerounais de tous bords. C'est-à-dire, on ne connaît pas qui a répondu au sondage. Donc, c'est, comment on dit, vraiment représentatif de notre pays. Et
moi, je te dis, le travail que nous faisons, la Project CEO, c'est un travail inspiré. C'est-à-dire que vraiment, ça aboutira à un résultat qui va au-delà de ce que nous avions même planifié. Donc, vraiment, nous invitons les Camerounais à y participer. Prenons part à cela. Prenons vraiment part, une part active.
Yeah. And at this time, I'm going to turn this over to you, Leopold, to let's talk about an analysis of the survey. I see that Dr. Yusuf has his hand up.
Okay.
But
peut-être qu'on peut lui donner la parole avant, je sais pas.
Okay.
Si,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Dr. Yusuf, you have the floor.
Bonsoir, bonsoir à tout le monde.
Bonsoir.
Oui, je ne sais pas si on me suit.
Oui.
Parfaitement, parfaitement.
Oui, je voudrais juste prendre la parole pour remercier l'initiative et nous encourager dans le sens pour que nous puissions atteindre le maximum possible de Camerounais dans le monde. Il faudrait que chacun puisse prendre la responsabilité de partager au moins 5 fois par jour. Parce qu'il y a parfois, ça passe inaperçu dans les forums. Si chacun parmi nous, nous sommes peut-être 25 ou 26 ou 30, prend la responsabilité de partager au moins 1 fois par jour, ça fait peut-être another 30 people like they can take a survey. So, vraiment, j'ai été très content pour la structure, même comme parfois peut-être dans une chambre peut-être bien fermée, on pourra aussi discuter de certains nombres, de certaines reformulations de questions, mais c'est déjà quelque chose comme un trésor. Beaucoup de courage à nous tous. Je pense, la patrie ou la mort nous vaincront. Donc, beaucoup de courage à nous. Merci.
Merci, merci, Dr. Yusuf. Merci.
Another Cameroonian inspired, and that's the movement that we're building. Thank you very much. Yeah. So Leopold, would you want to introduce the results, the analysis of the results? So we've shown people the questions, the graphics, the representation, but what does this mean in terms of when we reflect on the kind of country that we want? And that's really the essence of the exercise that we're going to do going forward.
Tout à fait, Harry. Nous sommes partis des résultats statistiques que nous venons de présenter pour pouvoir maintenant faire une analyse comparative des deux. Parce que l'une des choses remarquables que nous avons vues tout à l'heure, dans le terme de l'espoir des jeunes Camerounais, c'était déjà la diversité, parce que la diversité arrive en deuxième position. Et donc, ce sondage déjà nous présente de bons éléments de cette diversité-là. Parce que la manière avec laquelle les sondages sont répondus en anglais complémente la manière avec laquelle c'est répondu en français. Et donc, c'est une richesse remarquable. Et je le redis, au-delà de tout ce qu'on pourrait croire, non, les Camerounais sont beaucoup plus unis qu'on ne le pense. Unis dans leur façon de penser, unis dans leur façon de penser l'avenir du Cameroun. Et donc, c'est cette analyse-là que nous allons essayer de faire ressortir, que nous avons fait ressortir à travers les éléments que tu vas nous présenter. Et c'est vraiment riche. Et ce qui pensait nous diviser, et cela est dit dans la chanson, dans notre jingle, ce qui pensait nous diviser, au contraire, nous devons nous appuyer sur ça pour pouvoir nous rapprocher davantage.
So, on va lancer donc en français d'abord et après.
Tout à fait. Merci, Harry.
Allez, on plonge tout de suite dans le vif du sujet avec le décryptage d'une enquête absolument fascinante, le fameux projet C de 2026. Ce qu'on va analyser aujourd'hui, c'est ni plus ni moins les prémices d'une transition démocratique historique au Cameroun. Ce n'est pas tous les jours qu'on voit des données qui offrent une radiographie aussi nette d'une nation à la croisée des chemins. En fait, on assiste à une véritable rupture politique. Les citoyens réclament massivement une ère démocratique plus moderne et surtout beaucoup plus solidaire. Alors pour démarrer, il faut qu'on pose cette question parce que c'est vraiment le paradoxe qui est au cœur de toute cette analyse. Imaginez un peu la situation. Comment est-ce qu'on peut ressentir une fierté nationale immense et en même temps n'avoir absolument plus aucune confiance en ses institutions? C'est complètement contre-intuitif, non? En général, quand l'État va mal, le sentiment d'appartenance s'effondre avec. Mais là, les chiffres nous montrent exactement le contraire. Et ça, c'est quelque chose qu'il faut absolument comprendre. Bon, accrochez-vous parce que ce chiffre est tout simplement brutal. 1,5%. C'est la proportion minuscule de citoyens anglophones qui déclarent encore faire confiance au gouvernement, au Parlement ou à la justice. C'est quasiment rien. À ce niveau-là, on ne parle plus d'une petite grogne passagère ou d'une simple insatisfaction. On est face à une crise de légitimité totale, un effondrement de la confiance qui appelle des réponses structurelles massives. Pour y voir clair, voici comment on va structurer notre décryptage. 1. La fierté nationale paradoxale. 2. Les priorités divergentes entre anglophones et francophones. 3. Le lien entre jeunesse, économie et méfiance. 4. Les nouveaux acteurs du contrat social. 5. La décentralisation. Et enfin, on terminera sur cette idée forte de citoyens qui exigent de devenir les copropriétaires de leur constitution. Allez, premier axe, cette fameuse fierté nationale paradoxale. C'est la clé pour comprendre comment la population parvient à séparer l'État de la nation. Les chiffres parlent d'eux-mêmes. Chez les anglophones, la fierté nationale culmine à 90%, alors que la confiance institutionnelle, on l'a vu, stagne à 1,5%. Et du côté des francophones, c'est la même dynamique. 72% de fierté nationale pour seulement 13% de confiance envers les institutions. Qu'est-ce que ça nous dit? Eh bien que le pays traverse une crise de l'organisation du pouvoir et non une crise du peuple lui-même. En clair, l'amour du pays reste intact, mais le système politique actuel, lui, est totalement rejeté. On passe à notre deuxième point, anglophones et francophones, des priorités divergentes. Même s'il y a un vrai désir commun de changement, les deux groupes linguistiques ne voient pas les urgences du même œil. D'un côté, les anglophones mettent le paquet sur la réforme institutionnelle, la qualité du leadership et l'intégration égalitaire. C'est vraiment une question de rapport à l'État central pour la minorité linguistique. De l'autre côté, la majorité francophone se focalise plutôt sur la justice sociale horizontale, l'économie et le marché du travail. Bref, pour les uns, l'urgence est structurelle, pour les autres, elle est avant tout socio-économique. Troisième partie de notre analyse, la jeunesse, l'économie et la méfiance institutionnelle. Pour comprendre cette urgence économique, il faut se pencher sur la démographie. Du côté francophone, on a affaire à une population nettement plus jeune, avec énormément d'étudiants. Logiquement, décrocher un premier emploi, c'est l'obsession numéro 1. Du coup, quand ces jeunes font face à des inégalités ou au favoritisme ethnique, ils ne voient pas ça comme de simples débats de salon. Pour eux, ce sont des murs qui bloquent leur survie économique et toute idée de méritocratie. La corruption devient une menace existentielle, littéralement. Et c'est exactement pour ça que la méfiance envers les institutions est aussi profonde. Ils ont le sentiment tenace que le système est truqué d'avance. Mais alors, face à ces constats différents, regardez cette incroyable convergence. Quand on parle de limiter les mandats présidentiels, tout le monde est d'accord. On est à plus de 98% d'approbation chez les anglophones et presque 98% chez les francophones. C'est un véritable raz-de-marée. Malgré leurs divergences au quotidien, la quasi-totalité des citoyens s'accordent sur cette solution choc. Pour eux, c'est le rempart constitutionnel absolu pour renouveler le leadership et freiner la corruption systémique. Ce qui nous amène à notre quatrième point, les acteurs du nouveau contrat social. Avec un tel consensus sur ce qui ne va pas, les citoyens savent exactement qui ils veulent voir à la table des négociations pour arranger les choses. Ils exigent que la société civile et les autorités traditionnelles soient officiellement reconnues dans la Constitution. Et attention, ce n'est pas juste pour le symbole. L'objectif, c'est d'en faire de véritables contre-pouvoirs face à l'exécutif, de vrais piliers d'un contrat de confiance décentralisé. En fait, c'est la volonté d'en finir avec un modèle ultra-étatique pour enfin valoriser les structures sociales qui maintiennent déjà la paix sur le terrain. Cinquièmement, la décentralisation et les garanties institutionnelles. C'est là que la bataille contre l'hyper-présidentialisme prend tout son sens. Les exigences des anglophones sont particulièrement nettes sur ce point. Une écrasante majorité, frôlant souvent les 100%, réclame des garanties constitutionnelles en béton armé pour protéger les communautés linguistiques. Et plus de 95% exigent que chaque région pèse vraiment, de manière égale, dans les décisions nationales. C'est un carton rouge magistral envoyé au pouvoir centralisé, actant l'échec d'une gouvernance verticale à assurer l'égalité. Mais attention à ne pas s'y tromper. La décentralisation réclamée ici n'a rien à voir avec de la division. Bien au contraire. Elle est vue comme le meilleur outil pour renforcer la fierté nationale et répartir le pouvoir équitablement. Le message est clair, on veut des régions autonomes qui coopèrent entre elles et un Parlement national beaucoup plus fort. L'idée, c'est de recréer de l'inclusion, pour que plus personne ne se sente marginalisé dans son propre pays. Enfin, sixième et dernier grand axe, les citoyens comme copropriétaires de la nouvelle Constitution. C'est sans doute l'aspect le plus révolutionnaire de l'enquête. 7 personnes sur 10 exigent de participer directement à la rédaction du prochain texte constitutionnel. C'est fini, le temps où l'on acceptait un document juridique rédigé en vase clos et imposé d'en haut. Mettre un bulletin dans une urne de temps en temps, ça ne suffit plus du tout. La demande aujourd'hui, c'est l'implication active. Cette métaphore issue des sources est juste parfaite. Copropriétaire, le mot est lâché et il est fort. C'est un changement de paradigme absolu. Les citoyens ne veulent pas juste qu'on rafistole l'État, ils exigent d'être à la table des architectes pour rebâtir le contrat social de A à Z. Ils considèrent que le pouvoir doit émaner directement d'eux. C'est la fin du statut de simple sujet de la loi. Alors, pour conclure, la vraie question qui se pose maintenant, c'est est-ce que ce consensus populaire inédit sera l'électrochoc qui permettra enfin de sortir de l'impasse politique ? On a d'un côté une jeunesse qui réclame la méritocratie et de l'autre des communautés qui exigent une égalité institutionnelle réelle. Tout cela converge vers une immense soif de modernité et de solidarité. Reste à voir si cette volonté farouche de devenir les architectes de demain se concrétisera. En tout cas, on assiste à une dynamique citoyenne fascinante qui pourrait bien redessiner l'avenir du pays. C'est clairement un dossier à suivre de très près.
Dossier à suivre de très près.
Absolument, oui.
Je pense que c'est très, très révélateur ce qu'on est en train de...
Juste une petite observation sur le premier point, la fameuse fierté paradoxale, en fait. C'est-à-dire que nous l'avons évoqué au tout début, quand on comparait la Constitution de 61 à celle de 96. C'est-à-dire que le fameux dualisme État-nation. Et nous avons vu que la nation devrait être au-dessus de l'État.
Oui.
Et sinon, ça aboutit justement à ce que nous mesurons là, la méfiance envers les institutions. Et donc, cet hyper-présidentialisme, c'est-à-dire que cette hyper-centralisation, les Camerounais voudraient que les choses soient un peu plus réparties. Donc voilà un peu.
I think, Arif, if you don't mind my adding, I think it's important that we say this also in English.
Yeah.
The view of the importance of the state over the nation or the nation over the state, because right now, the system that's prevalent in Cameroon is where the state has precedence over the nation, so over citizens. But what we are seeing, both in English and in French, especially in English, but more so in both, is that citizens want the nation to be primordial, to stand over the state, over institutions. Citizens should control that. It's a very, very fine but important difference.
Yeah.
Il faut quitter l'étatisme. Un terme cher à notre groupe, l'étatisme.
And now we will watch this in the analysis in English, and then after that we're going to open for.
Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we are diving deep into the initial findings of a truly fascinating constitutional survey from the Once for All campaign, which was conducted by Project C. Now, if you follow the political narratives in Cameroon, you'd probably think the country is just hopelessly divided along linguistic lines. But as we're going to see when we unpack this data, a massive, surprising truth about the nation's constitutional future emerges. Our goal today is to figure out just how deep these perceived divisions really go. More importantly, what actually unites everyone. All right, so here's our roadmap for today. We're going to hit 6 key.
Sorry.
Relance-nous ça, s'il te plaît.
Okay, I'm not sure what.
Nous avons la radio, mais on voudrait la télé.
Okay. I'm going to do this again once more. I'm not sure what first maneuver I did there. Okay.
Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we are diving deep into the initial findings of a truly fascinating constitutional survey from the Once for All campaign, which was conducted by Project C. Now, if you follow the political narratives in Cameroon, you'd probably think the country is just hopelessly divided along linguistic lines. But as we're going to see when we unpack this data, a massive, surprising truth about the nation's constitutional future emerges. Our goal today is to figure out just how deep these perceived divisions really go, and more importantly, what actually unites everyone. All right, so here's our roadmap for today. We're going to hit 6 key areas: beyond apparent divisions, 2 perspectives, 1 nation, the pride paradox, pillars of national consensus, local governance, and finally, co-authoring the Constitution. Let's jump right into part 1, beyond apparent divisions, focusing on the profound crisis of institutional trust. Okay, we have to start by establishing our baseline, and frankly, the contrast in institutional trust here is absolutely staggering. The fundamental driver for reform isn't actually citizens fighting each other. Trust in government, parliament, and the judiciary sits at a very low 13% among francophones. But among anglophones, it plummets to a shocking 1.5%. Just think about that. It's basically zero. This is our first major clue. The crisis we are dealing with is deeply institutional. It's a complete systemic failure of the state to earn trust, not some organic, deep-seated rift between the people themselves. Which brings us to section 2. 2 perspectives, 1 nation, and how this translates into diverging immediate priorities. So, this shared crisis of trust actually manifests in very different expectations between the linguistic communities. For francophones, driven largely by a younger demographic, the concerns are heavily rooted in socioeconomic realities. Their focus naturally gravitates toward things like unemployment, finding jobs, and dealing with perceived ethnic inequalities. Basically, they're looking at horizontal tensions. Anglophones, on the other hand, are looking at something distinctly different. They prioritize structural things, institutional governance, national identity, and the actual quality of political leadership. They are way more focused on the vertical tensions between the regions and the central state. Ultimately, while both groups are totally fed up with the status quo, francophones are demanding socioeconomic justice and anglophones are demanding structural and governance reforms. Moving on to section 3, the pride paradox, national pride amidst profound distrust. This brings us to what is honestly the most mind-bending contradiction in the entire dataset when it comes to national identity. Remember how we just talked about anglophones having an abysmal 1.5% trust in state institutions? Well, despite that, a massive 90% of them express strong national pride. That's compared to 72% for francophones. So we really have to ask ourselves, make it make sense. Why do the people with the absolute lowest trust in the state express the highest pride in the nation? Well, the data gives us a pretty clear answer. There's a massive distinction between the nation and the state. Anglophones maintain a really deep, genuine attachment to the Cameroonian nation, but they are just profoundly dissatisfied with the state apparatus itself. Their understanding of this whole crisis is institutional, not communal. All this high national pride actually points to a strong desire for equal integration within the national framework, rather than some urge to separate. What they're demanding are robust constitutional guarantees. We're talking strict parliamentary oversight, total regional equality, and real protection for linguistic communities. They want a constitution that acts as a genuine covenant of trust, ensuring no single group can ever dominate another.
Let's pivot to Section 4, Pillars of National Consensus, where we'll look at the massive shared constitutional roadmap.
Now, this is where the constitutional convergence becomes incredibly clear. 98.5% of Anglophones, and that is matched almost identically by 97.8% of Francophones, agree on the absolute necessity of strict presidential term limits. This isn't just a minor tweak in policy preference, it's a unified nationwide demand to stop the hyperconcentration of central power. Both groups fundamentally agree that limiting executive power is step number one to protecting citizens.
And you know, the unity doesn't stop there. An identical 98% across both linguistic communities are demanding permanent constitutional mechanisms for accountability and a relentless fight against systemic corruption. Let that sink in. For almost every single respondent, eradicating corruption isn't just a nice-to-have idea, it is an absolute existential necessity for the Republic to survive and actually flourish.
Ultimately, when you boil it all down, both groups agree the nation is facing 5 critical challenges. We have systemic corruption, institutional distrust, governance failures, poverty, and regional inequalities. This proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that both communities are fighting the exact same systemic monsters. Sure, their immediate priorities might differ slightly, but that doesn't undermine this profound national consensus. It just highlights different sensitivities within one common national project.
All right, on to Section 5, Local Governance and How to Rebuild Trust Through Decentralization.
To actually fix these challenges on the ground and stop all that power hoarding at the center, citizens know they need new counterpowers. When we look at how to build these local governance mechanisms, 2 clear pillars emerge. First, civil society needs to be recognized as a core institutional pillar, acting as a modern, permanent accountability mechanism and a direct counterweight to executive power. On the flip side, respondents overwhelmingly support formally recognizing traditional authorities in the Constitution. By weaving them into local structures, you tap into their historic ability to build social cohesion and resolve conflicts. It's this vital, complementary blend of modern accountability and deep cultural grounding.
So how exactly do we rebuild this broken state-citizen trust from the ground up? Citizens are laying out 4 really clear steps. 1, much stronger local autonomy. 2, absolute institutional equality across all regions. 3, active participation of all regions in national decision-making. And 4, fundamentally rebalancing the power dynamic between the central state and local governments. The major takeaway here is that genuine decentralization is not just seen as a minor administrative update. It is literally the essential mechanism to fix broken trust and bring the state back to the people it serves.
Finally, Section 6, Co-authoring the Constitution, the demand for direct citizen participation.
All this data builds up to one historic demand for a totally new social contract. Look at this. Over 70% of folks explicitly say they want to be directly involved in drafting the Constitution. The citizens are sending a crystal clear message. They absolutely refuse to just be subjects of the law anymore. They are demanding a seat at the table as direct co-authors and co-owners of the new fundamental rules of their democratic life. And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway from this survey, which is profound. Cameroon is experiencing a crisis of institutions rather than a crisis of peoples. The data proves it. The fierce divisions we hear so much about, they're largely an illusion, fostered by a broken, hyper-centralized system, not a real communal reality. The people themselves are remarkably united in their vision for the country,
which perfectly captures the central ethos of the Once for All campaign. The Constitution of the future can no longer be written for citizens. It must be written with them. The goal isn't for one linguistic or political group to somehow defeat another. The true goal is to build an inclusive, lasting covenant of trust, built hand in hand with the very people it's meant to protect.
As we wrap up this explainer, I think the roadmap is pretty clear. The shared priorities are undeniable, and the demand for real, grassroots participation is historic. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. How are you going to step up and help write the rules of our shared democratic life? Are you ready to co-author the future of the Republic? Thanks so much for joining me today, and as always, keep questioning the narrative.
So that's the question. Are you ready to join in co-authoring the future of our
please take
country,
the survey.
Cameroon. Yep.
Donc,
please take the
cela,
survey.
il faut faire remplir le sondage déjà.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the first step.
Yeah. Well, this is the best birthday gift any movement could ever want to have. It is results like this, that 1 year after we started this initiative in July of 2025, we are here 1 year later having made this tremendous progress and revealing to the country what we really need to take into consideration as we think about the future. That so much can be said about what went wrong yesterday. So much can be said about what's going on wrong today. But the greatest responsibility that we have is what we make of the present for the future. Because the future is the only thing that we have that we can affect, that we can impact. And this survey is telling us something about how we jointly, together, construct that future. And that in itself is celebratory, but we are not yet there. This is only scratching the surface of what we can unpack in this process for our country, Cameroon. I have to thank you, Leopold, for working overnight on doing this analysis, and obviously thank Ivy, who put together the survey, put together the graphics. Ivy Davis, who's working with us. Thanks to the sponsorship of the University of Alabama and the support of Dr. Alan Tita. Yeah, we're able to have that, and even have the university offer its guidance and its consulting service. We had Dr. Reuters from the university talk to us and made reference to other parts of the world, the Balkan states that went through a process like this, and why this process was really important if we wanted to get the kind of outcome that we wanted. So thank you. We're going to pause here and we'll be able to take some questions. But I think we're running. We thought 2 hours would not come, but we already hit the 2-hour mark. We'll just give it another 15 minutes because we have another upcoming conversation that I have to join in. But please, if there are any questions or comments with reference to the surveys, the questions, or what we have presented, we're really happy to take those now. We'll open the floor for those. But I know Dr. Yusuf did make some comments. Thank you for that. Thank you to Esther. Thank you for joining us. I know you have to leave, but thank you for joining us. Any questions? I don't know that we can address. I urge you. I really urge Cameroonians to take the survey. I urge you to support the movement. The links to the survey, again, I'm going to repost them so that for those of you that are just joining us, you can take the survey first in French.
Un mot sur pour informer le public sur l'évolution de l'opération physique dans les 360 communes. Parce que y a eu les acteurs ont déjà été formés pour cela. Et donc, ça avance, ça avance. C'est-à-dire que la forme langue qui devait être traduite même en langue locale par les différents partenaires.
Yes, we're absolutely working with a group of young people who will go on the field. For now, we've started working with them to encourage people to take it digitally. The next phase is going to be out on the field, really making sure that this outcome is representative of our country, Cameroon. This is unprecedented. What we're doing is something that has never been done. Incidentally, we're doing this at a time as well when I know our country has been going through challenges of a national census. But it just speaks volumes of the challenges that we face as a country. So people will be taking this survey. We've gone through the training of a group of leaders on the ground in Cameroon in all the regions, and they would be working with a team that extends to all 360 subdivisions.
Et la petite chose que nous avons, c'est que c'est la période de vacances scolaires en ce moment, donc les gens seront plus disponibles.
Yes, yes. And we're seeing these numbers today, again, going up. I really encourage people to share this. Take, as Dr. Yusuf said, let's take this as a responsibility. We're going to run this till the end of June. We've extended it to make sure that we get a really significant number of people participating in the surveys. We would provide periodic updates on the results that we're seeing, as we have done here today, and I hope we find this fascinating. We will be sharing these results on our WhatsApp platforms.
C'est ça, c'est disponible sur en ligne. Ça sera disponible en ligne.
Yeah, and we would also be working to publish this across the country, newspapers and blogs, so that people can have access to this and see in real time. Because with every one response that comes in, it's changing the dynamics of the results in real time. So there's no intervening force. You know, again, it's anonymous. You do it in real time. We have the results, and we can publish the results at any one time without very, very transparent process as well. Again, we're also asking for your help to support us from a financial standpoint, for us to be able to mobilize the group of people on the ground to do this work. And then it's just the beginning, because we still have the focus groups that we're going to do. We still have the public debates, the televised debates that we plan to have. And eventually we hope to have a constitutional convention that will finalize everything that we're doing here. But that's the plan. And it's, you know, we would only succeed if we, the Cameroonian people, take our destiny into our hands with this initiative. I do not see any hands up. It means that this is a shock treatment. And
ça veut dire qu'ils ont reçu les réponses qu'ils attendaient peut-être dans les dernières vidéos. Hein?
Yeah.
Donc, il n'y a pas de question. No more question, Your Honor.
Yes, Eric.
No. I mean, as we wait, so I know in a few minutes you're going to round this up, but I just thought again to come back to this anniversary date, and to actually mention and thank some folks who've been with us through the year in various ways. And if you don't mind, I'll just quickly mention a few of the names here. And the only names I will not mention would be Array, of course, and Leopold and Elizabeth. I will not mention your names. But there's the rest of us. You know, there's Mundi Fomukong, you know, for those who know him. He in some ways, without knowing it, he was, you know, he's one of the rockets that set this, one of the boosters that set this rocket on fire. And then, of course, there's Dr. Alan Tita, you know, who's, I think he's with us today, but been instrumental. There's Christopher Che, who, again, is, you know, played various roles, but lots of other people, Wilson, Judith Mwana, Michael Senze, Herman Fergio, Alan Oyono, the Indefatigable, you know, the Leon Indomitable, and Junior Abena, Marilyn Mamdwa, I call her Mamdwa, Marilyn, Kenneth Frunde, Francois Wakwache, you know, he's been away for a while, but he's based in Rwanda. Lots of other people, Annette Axdal, names that you may not have heard, but they've been instrumental. Terence, Jean-Marie, Aurélie, Kenny Kendo. And then, of course, we'll go to Kingsley, who's been, you know, we talk a lot about Mimi Mefo News and the support that has come from there and from social media. Bernard Ngalim, instrumental. Becky Anonchang, instrumental. And there's no way we'll forget a recent entry, but who's making a difference, and I'm talking about Eniepo Omega. And finally, I'll mention, and Ari has already said it, but Ivy Davis, and who came to us through Dr. Tita and from the University of Alabama. It's been amazing, and the help has been wonderful. So I just thought I'd mention all of that. I hope I got most people. And those I didn't get, Ari, please, you'll be the one apologizing to them. Not me. So, all right.
No, I think you covered everybody, and this also extends to those of you that have showed up every Saturday. And I see some names here that you have constantly been with us on this journey. And we really do appreciate it. But even beyond that, those of you that have even committed and are making monthly contributions, and you know yourself to this movement, we want to thank that larger family that is constantly out there, and that sometimes we do not see you. Many people come in incognito. We appreciate this conversation, this participation, and the fact that you are out there. And for those of you that have been advocates of this movement out there as well, thank you for standing with us for a year now. Even with all the weaknesses that we've had, but at the end of the day, we think that we're charting a path forward together. We're asking for more people to be part of this movement, to take ownership of this project, Cameroon, because that's exactly what it is. It is a project that is redefining who we are as a country. So please, thank you for everybody.
Very personal standpoint, I just want to mention Professor Stella Anyangwe. It's always a delight to see her in any of these conferences, and many of us would know who she is, Dr. Anyangwe, and of course there's also Cyril Nietzsche, who's been with us constantly too. Thanks, everyone.
Tout le temps, il est très présent.
Yeah. Well, lots of people. There's Jane, there's Kado, there's lots of many people who have always been here with us for the last year. I see that Bernard has his hand up, and so I'm going to pass this on to Bernard. We will wrap up momentarily. Before that, I'm going to end up with our music video, which I will play today in English. But let me turn this over to Bernard.
Thank you so much, Ray, Eric, and Leopold, for always being there. It's difficult to keep the pace, but for 1 year, you guys have always been here every Saturday, and I'm excited. I'm excited that dedication is paying off, at least with the results of the survey. I just wanted to say something about the survey and the results. And as Leopold said, I think it was Leopold who said it, that the results actually show to us scientifically what we already know about the country. And those who dispute these facts now have evidence in their hands. So it's no longer a question of asking whether our critiques or our assessment of the governance of the country is true or false. Either way you take it, you adjust the results, whatever way, statistically, data point-wise, the outcome is the same. The country is terribly governed, and Cameroonians are tired. And it simply shows that Cameroonians don't believe the outcome of the last elections and everything that flows out of it. The presidential, the constitutional amendment, the revision of the laws extending the mandate of parliamentarians and municipal councillors. All those simply shows that it lacks legitimacy, and it's now on on Cameroonians to define how to move forward. And I like the approach where Cameroonians are showing that they want to partake in elections, in the definition of the constitution of the country. So it's no longer them, the government, giving us a constitution, but us defining what we want for the country and giving it to them. So I really think that the outcome, or the idea, first of all, of coming out with this survey is very important, and pushing it further to get more views, more ideas, and developing a strategy around what people think is fundamental. Then I look forward to how it's going to proceed to the constitutional or the Constituent Assembly to define the Constitution, write the Constitution, collect viewpoints or whatsoever. I think that is the right way to go, and we should generously and happily work towards that. Then on a personal note, I discussed this with Are shortly. On a personal note, I am looking forward to starting a weekly live program where we can discuss these issues after, maybe on Sundays. I would work that out and I'll communicate it with people. I'll invite guests. We'll do roundtable conversations, and I'll send out the announcement very soon so that the conversation is continuous. We have different people sharing different perspectives that are cross ideas. And so, you know, where people talk and share their minds and exchange the ideas, confront the ideas to others, there is always depth in the outcome of any such conversations, and it contributes enormously to the development of the country. So thank you again for doing this.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bernard, for those comments. We look forward to that. I mean, we've been already collaborating, and we look forward to strengthening that collaboration. And we honestly hope that this leads us to really a new chapter for our country, because nobody else will write that than us. And unless we think about tomorrow, we will be stuck with trying to address the challenge of today. And that is really what this whole process is how do we move forward as a country, thinking about what the next 25, the next 50, the next 100 years would look like for future generations. Paul, if you have any closing remarks,
No,
I would just ask everybody who is here to just stay on. And once more, I'm going to play this video, because it encapsulates in essence what we're trying to accomplish with this campaign. And I ask for you to like and share this on our YouTube page as well. So I would also be dropping the links in the chat whilst we listen to this.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
For decades, Cameroonians have watched us hope slip through our fingers. Decisions about our future made behind closed doors. Our voices drowned out by power in politics again and again. We have been told who we are and what we must accept. Cameroon's destiny has been shaped by others. Cameroonians are waking up and demanding change. What kind of country do we want? What makes us Cameroonian? The soul of Cameroon is shaped not by what divides us, but by what unites us. Oh, what kind of country do we want? What makes us Cameroonian? Imagine a movement not of politicians, but of people. Imagine every corner of this country, every hamlet, village, town, city, every region, rising together with one purpose, not for an election, not for power, but for one nation, once and for all. Imagine putting country over self, love over hate. Cameroon, not tribe, language, not region. The soul of Cameroon is shaped not by what divides us, but by what unites us. Imagine a movement not of politicians, but of people. This is not a dream, this is Project C. Imagine the street vendors, the motorcycle taxi drivers, the trade unions, traditional rulers, professionals, and the diaspora, working together everywhere for something bigger than any one of us. Oh, for the first time we, the people, will come together to answer the hardest, most important questions. How do we finally lay to rest the ghost of the past and create a future where every citizen belongs? Over the next 4 months, we will listen, we will debate, we will draft a new constitution. Oh, one that reflects our diversity, our dreams, our determination to build a Cameroon of dignity, peace, and prosperity. This is a movement born of the people, for the people. No more decisions made for us, without us. No more waiting for permission to hope. A new Cameroon is possible. Hey, not determined by our colonial past, but by our common future. Join the movement for a new Cameroon. This is Project C. This is a movement born of the people, for the people. A new Cameroon is possible. Join the movement for a new Cameroon. Join the movement for a new Cameroonian.
So thank you, everyone, and I'm glad you all stayed to put it in. We have this music in French, in English, in Pidgin, because we want the majority of, we want to be able to reach out to the max majority of Cameroonians at all levels. So please, I hope that you're inspired by the conversation we've had here today, and we put this in your hands. Take ownership of the process, spread the word, let people participate in the survey, and let's build.
Merci de remplir le sondage. Merci, merci, merci.
Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Et à la prochaine. We'll be back next Saturday with even more explosive updates on our survey. Thank you.